Hey folks, Jeff Salzman here, and welcome to the Daily Evolver. Today, I'm talking with Bence Ganti, the driving force behind the biggest event in the global integral community, the fourth biannual Integral European Conference. Though I won't personally be there this year, I have attended in the past and can vouch that it is an amazing event. This year, it will be held at beautiful Lake Balaton, about an hour outside of Budapest, Hungary. The main conference is 6 days from May 26th through the 31st. Plus, there's a pre-conference event starting the 22nd and a post-conference bus tour of Hungary, which I also did, and it's great as well. This year, they're expecting 700 people from 50 countries, and it will feature over 200 programs and experiential workshops. So here is my conversation with Bence Ganti, which I start by complimenting his conference title, Global Integral Awakens. I love your title, Global Integral Awakens.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. And I feel like that's true.
Do you feel that too?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what was very stunning this year in 2019, that the Hispano-American Conference happened for the first time and the Integral African Conference happened for the first time.
Right.
And you know, me as one of the founders and the director of the Integral European Conference, I feel what does it mean to bring together continentally integralists? And that's a natural growth that first people in their own countries start to do it, maybe alone, and then look for others in the country, so country level. And then, you know, when they've done that, they usually want to grow more. What other integralists are in the other countries around us? So if a continental scale conference shows up anywhere on planet Earth, for me, that's a sign that Integral has been brewing on that continent for 5, 10, 50, maybe 20 years already.
Right.
You know? So, and IEC was born in 2014, and Integral had been brewing for 20 years, and then IEC came out. So now, you know, Latin America came out, Africa came out. So it looks like the Integral movement, it's getting into a next phase globally.
Yeah. And also being tied together virtually. You know, yes. So much more going on online that I feel like for the first time, I feel like I've lost track. I'm not sure I know of everything that's going on, and that's a good sign.
That's a very good sign. And often we hear the critique that Integral is too little, too narrow, too few people. I have the other, you know, perception of this. You know, I can't keep track how many people are, you know, trying, working, doing, developing new things.
I asked Bence how he was defining integral and to what degree they were going to foreground Ken Wilber's Wilberian Aqua model.
I'm not saying that everything that I'm talking about is strictly Ken Wilberian expert integral, but while we are keeping Wilber's integral at the epicenter, also we open doors, you know, to any integral stage, you know, offering, or those people that Wilber refers to and builds to, like Kegan, Dr.Robert, Teal, it's big now, the Teal movement, holacracy, you know, spiral dynamics. So it's kind of an ecosystem. It's not just strictly Wilberian, it's a wide ecosystem circling, you know, speaking of integral in Boulder, for example, circling spreads so big and they come to IC. We have a whole track for circling as well. So if we have this wider spectrum to look at, you know, we lose track of counting.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
And give us the dates and just the logistics.
So the dates are the 26th to the 31st of May. So the last week of May in 2020. And it's going to happen physically at the center of Europe. If you take Europe from the western tip to the easternmost part, then in the center is Central Europe. And it's happening in Hungary, not in Budapest, the capital, because there is a much better place for such a big event 1 hour west of the capital. There's a huge lake, the biggest sweetwater lake of Central Europe. It's called Balaton, and one of the biggest lakes of Europe. And that's a huge recreational place. Everybody goes there for vacation and spend it the summer. So on the lake side, there is a big conference hotel called Hotel Azur at the town of Siófok. And that's where the conference is going to take place.
And how many people do you expect to be there?
We expect to be there 700 people.
Wow. Yeah.
Last year we had 620. So we expect the natural growth this year to around 700. We book all the homestays and hotels around the hotel.
Okay.
And offer it in a price that's usually lower than Airbnbs. So we call it cheap stay options. So those who don't want to stay in the hotel to save money or didn't get into the hotel because it's sold out, but they find closer places for better prices through us.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about what people could expect when they come. And let me just lead off.
Yeah.
Because I have, well, first of all, been to, countless conferences here in North America that are integrally based through the Integral Institute, what we did at Boulder Integral. And your conference, and I was down at the Hispano America conference. And the one thing that is reliable about all of these integral conferences is when you get people who are working on this developmental view and feeling into their own evolution and their own emergence, that there's an X factor that is just palpable of a we space that is, I just feel more liberated than any other group. And there is a flexibility of mind. There's a good energy. Everybody is pre-forgiven for all of their flaws, which they don't have to hide. It's all good. It's just an amazing thing. So with that sort of general expectation, so everybody gets together on this beautiful lake in beautiful Hungary. And I've been to this lake because I did the tour of the last time. Which you also have this time, I would add, a 3-day tour at the end.
At the end, a 3-day sightseeing tour, which also always have new venues to visit.
Yes, and Hungary is such a beautiful country. So we all gather together, 600-700 plus people, and what do we do?
And what we do, we spend 6 days together if you take the full program. And in the morning hours between 9 and 1 p.m., we are going to have keynote presentations, and then we're going to have section room presentations. So we use the mind, the cognitive aspect of the self, and info exchange from scientific to non-scientific, whatever you want. And the afternoons after the lunch break, we shift into the other part of the human being, the experiential, emotional, relational. So the whole afternoon is dedicated to experiential workshops and transformational experiences. And even the keynote talks and the section talks are reduced to 20 minutes each. So forget about long and boring talks and too much blah, blah. Whatever is necessary for the mind will be there. We don't want to get into the postmodern trap where we throw out all cognitive, wisdom on the window because just experience. I think the integral maturity can integrate the experiential and, the
intellectual. Yeah.
As Ken Wilber puts it in his book, The Marriage of Sense and Soul.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So the conference is designed so that we have all these experiences. And as you say, the atmosphere is very vibrant. There's this X factor, which you called, we are already pre-forgiven. Yes, there is open-hearted, feel, think, whatever, you want, we hold you in that atmosphere. So this is basically the two aspects that we exercise every day by the structure of the conference. And the evenings, are one of the best parts because we figured that one of the best things in conferences is to socialize, is to connect. You can't stop socializing.
It's true. Even me.
Even you.
Even me. No, it's true because people get you in a way that you're not used to. You know, and you get other people in a way that people reveal themselves in a way you're not used to. There is a new X factor. There's a new something that is arising here with people who are working on integral consciousness. And, you know, the social part is so delicious.
So delicious. And most people are used routinely to go to therapy, to circling, to self-improvement, to meditation. And the whole atmosphere is like this, you know, so instead of being the weirdo of the room, the whole, you know, room, this is the norm.
It's a room full of weirdos.
Exactly. The weirdo tribe, the global integral weirdos.
Tribe, indeed.
Yeah.
So, Bence, just to help people get a sense of it, like what are some of the topics or titles that will be featured this year?
Okay, so there are 5 tracks which highlight certain topics. There are 40 plus topics, but now I highlight 4 because somehow they become so pronounced that we dedicated a whole track for them. A track means that for one topic, you have a room open for many days. Otherwise, one topic just appears here and there. And one is the shadow track, that it looks like people want more shadow work, you know, in the global integral gatherings. We, of course, talk about shadow all the time. We should do shadow work, shadow like this. Why don't we dedicate the whole track? And if you are brave enough to enter the door, you know, it's guaranteed that there will be, you know, processes, a lot of processes that will work on your shadow. So we get a little more courageous, you know, than in previous conferences. And of course, if you don't want to get too wet, you know, you can stay out. Go to the other room. But if you want to get wet,
post a warning so I know what I'm doing here.
A warning. You know, if you're ready to transform, not shy to open up, you want to get real, then there is the shadow track.
God bless you. Fantastic.
And another room that became a track is the circling track. So, you know, maybe they won't break your balls so, you know, strongly than in the shadow room, but they will still give you some hot chair time, you know, in Gestalt terms. So go to circling rooms, you know, very skilled, enthusiast facilitators from the globe gather there. So multiple circular leaders from the global circling movement will come.
Yeah. And the global encircling movement comes out of integral theory, and it's a process of sitting in a circle with other people and doing this very simple process of basically feedback in the moment.
Exactly. Of what's going on between us, what's going on in me, and the focus is constantly in the here and now and the relational we space.
Yeah, and there's often a liftoff that takes place that is like, whoa. So that's a cool track. That's circling. Okay.
Another track is the U-Lab track. There is the U process from Otto Scharmer. And Otto is coming to keynote. One of the keynotes is Otto Scharmer this year. So we're going to dedicate one track for the U process and the U process experts from around the globe and the presencing community. So that will also be there. And a very interesting new track is the often neglected spiritual path of shamanism.
Yes,
in integral,
very good.
We are routinely Buddhists, yogis, Christian mystics, maybe a little bit Sufis here and there, but there are the shamanic practitioners. So we put together a shamanic and nature mystic track, and we combine it with environmental, global, you know, climate change issues. So all these are going to be in one track, and we are going to set up a yurt, a traditional yurt, in the garden of the hotel. And this track is going to take place in the yurt all the time.
Yeah, good.
Yes. So what else from the tracks? Oh, yes. Very important track is the power, leadership and power track. So one full track is dedicated to, you know, integral ways and new ways of leadership, power, and organizations. And basically all the leadership trainers or org dev, organizational developer experts, you know, coaches can go there, and Holacracy will be represented. Brian Robertson will keynote as well, the founder of Holacracy. So Brian will be with us, giving also a workshop in, I think in this track. The teal movement will come, the offshoots of holacracy like encode and power shift. These are very new. We can't keep track as we agreed on that.
Yes.
Very new offsprings of the latest.
Fantastic.
Of the latest. So this is all, going to be represented in that track. And of course, outside of these tracks, there will be spiral dynamics, there will be integral gender issues, there will be psychotherapy, psychology, that's the key of integral. There will be refugee issues, in the European politics, the migrants are going to be discussed, and the major Hungarian foundation supported by UN, who is working with torture victims in Hungary, among the refugees in the refugee camps. They are going to present, the founder and director is going to present in a section, keynote of that section. So much thing going on that I can't even list them, just to give you a sample.
Yeah. This sounds great, Bence. I mean, I love the tracks. I love the idea of having tracks in the same place and, cutting grooves and, integrating the head and the heart and spirit. Yes. That's what integral ought to be.
Yes.
Are we, speaking of integrating, how about the goulash?
It's going to be there again. We can't skip the goulash soup, unfortunately, in Hungary. So yes, there will be the goulash night, which at this time takes place at the garden of the hotel, because the hotel is in a natural setting on the west side. It's a perfect spot. But there is something new. As you know, the goulash night starts around 7 p.m. when the sun sets on the lakeside, by eating goulash soup, which is the traditional Hungarian soup.
And it's cooked outside in these big pots under an open fire. It's fantastic.
Yeah, this is the traditional way to cook it. Big size, heavy metal, cauldrons, big fires. That's how we cook goulash. And goulash is a Hungarian soup. The German transcript is goulash. Some people have heard of that. And after that, we lit a big fire, tradition of IEC, a big pile of wood. And usually we dance around the fire, like 500 people dancing together under the stars around the fire. This time we are going to top the experience. We are going to add a fire walk.
Oh my goodness gracious. We're going to walk over hot coals.
Yeah, so whenever the big fire went down and we finished the dancing, and I'm going to invite a drumming ensemble, so live drums, like real tribal experience around the fire.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Dancing. Then we lay out, into a carpet of coals, and then expect 300 to 400 people to be brave enough to go through the fire and the rest holding space. And of course, this is going to be facilitated by a professional fire walking, team who are doing this with big corporates. So firewalk.
What a world!
What a world! Firewalk is not anymore some weirdo, dark, esoteric practice of the witches and stuff. And even in integral, they might think it's some purple magical thing. First of all, purple is important. But
I was going to say it actually is.
It actually is very important.
It's brought forward into an integral.
Exactly. So bravo to purple.
Yes.
But it's not only about that. It's about empowerment and breakthrough. Yeah. In order to walk through hot coals, with your bare feet, you really need to shift your state of consciousness, and basically it's a breakthrough moment, because the deepest instinct, of course, is don't even go close to a fire, let alone walking through it. I'm surely get hurt. I might die.
Right.
So you have to get over the deepest fears, the deepest instincts, the deepest trust and focus. It brings you very much into the present moment. Yeah. There's no space left to thinking and focused, empty present moment go through. So it's a purifying, healing, and an empowering ritual. You will feel that after doing that, I'm capable of doing anything.
Wow.
Everything. Wow. That's the angle that they use for corporate trainings with Firewalk, to give this breakthrough to the to people. And also it's a very strong, and this is the purple part, very strong bonding and community building experience. So for the Global Integral community, it also adds, in the, okay, so we are deeply a community now kind of experience.
Yes. Wow.
So that's the Saturday night. And before that, the Friday night is also very strong. That's when we do the international constellation process.
Yep.
And it's so strong that we shouldn't have, next day a firewalk. But actually this year,
go for it.
We are more courageous than previous years and go deeper. Constellation, I think it's a new wave in group work that started with Hellinger doing family constellations, to have hidden family fields show up. Shifted into system constellations, there is not only family field, there is field of everybody, and there is national field and international field. So we started to apply constellation for that.
Yep.
To uncover what's in the international field, because we international people come together such a precious time, that so many country, people come together and spend psycho-spiritual space together, 500, 600, 700, So let's use this opportunity to uncover what's in the international field.
Totally.
Set it up, that's constellation. Have for each quality, United States, Europe, migrants, refugees, fear, love, hope, all that. One player for each, and then send them into the sacred space and let it all play out, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what the field wants to show us through through this, practice, a sacred practice, I could say.
Yeah.
And so on Friday night, we do the international constellation process, of which you saw the first one in 2014 when you were with us. Since that time, it has evolved a lot. So that was the first kind of pilot version that you saw. And you were also part of it.
Well, I was going to say I saw it from the epicenter, but yeah, it was very powerful.
You had a role there.
I had to be the United States.
Yes, you represented the United States.
Hey, it's my privilege.
We should have another podcast discussing that experience. I think I would really, love to hear what was that experience for you.
Yeah. It was great. Bottom line, it was great, and but challenging. But that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
We really are at Integral trying to create a world community, actually a cosmocentric community, a community that not only sees the world but also the energetics of the cosmos, and the updraft of emergence. And are in it together in a way that's conscious. So these things, sometimes you have to walk through the desert. You have to do some sort of an initiation that is a painful deconstruction of the ego to enter this bigger community.
Yes. And sometimes the deconstruction of the ego is painful, and some other times it's
ecstatic.
By the time you notice you transcended it, it already happened, kind of.
Yeah.
And the constellation is that art that it happens if it's well facilitated, which I hope we do well, then it happens so smoothly and gradually that it really doesn't
I think that's a lot of what we're learning in general is that, if you think of you're probably too young, but the encounter groups of the 70s and these things where it was just brutal. Yeah. And
have you been part of that?
Oh, yeah. And they work in a way. There's also a certain rewounding and a new wound that comes out of them sometimes for people.
Wow.
But what we've learned is how to get to that same territory, but to do it in a way that is organic and more gentle.
That's very interesting.
But no less challenging.
Yes. Yeah, it's challenging, and what is different from last year, that this year we want to do much more preparation. There will actually be a series of constellations to ask the field, what shall we constellate at the IEC? So a whole team is going to prepare for 8 months. And also we are going to pre-select who are going to take roles. This is new. Last years, we just asked people in the room. We announced the quality, like motherers, who wants to be motherers. This time, we are going to pre-select all the players because it's very demanding for the people who are in. Yeah. And some people can hold it better, and put the ego way better. Some other people fall apart under such a strong representational role, or they start to act out their ego. So we want to refine and elevate into a more, profound and pure quality this year.
Fantastic.
By this kind of pre-work, pre-selection preparation.
Oh my goodness.
Unleash it for a 3-hour process on Friday night.
Wow. Once again, I feel like I'm watching evolution happen in real time. Because you mentioned earlier that a lot of it depends on skillful facilitation for this process. It's a big deal. Let me just say that you are the most skillful facilitator I've ever seen. Of groups of this size. It's an absolute virtuoso performance. And I know you've been doing this sort of thing for a long time. And I'm so eager to see you at your new best.
Yes, it's thank you for saying that. And yes, kind of working with groups is a 20-year practice in me. And I also have to credit my colleagues with whom we are going to do that. So there's going to be I'm going to lead it, and there's going to be a lot of co-leadership and facilitators involved. And most of the people who are going to co-facilitate have been to the previous IECs and the previous constellations, and naturally kind of showed up and filtered out from the IEC crowd. So it's also a natural growth in how it all comes together, the next constellations, how the players team up together from this experiential field.
Yeah, cool.
The welcoming boat party is going to happen again.
Okay. So a boat party on the lake.
On the lake this time. On the lake this time. When you were with us, it was at the Danube here in Budapest.
Yes.
But
that was so beautiful and so memorable. The Danube River through Budapest. Yeah. And this amazing, don't you have the biggest parliamentary building in the world or something?
Yes, we do. We do.
And it's right on the river, so beautifully lit. I mean, everything is so exquisite. So that was so memorable. But I also understand, even though I didn't go to the next conference, that the lake cruise is equally fabulous. So. Yes,
the lake cruise is very fabulous. Very, you have this experience that you're gently like this for 2-3 hours. It's between the lines, so all the chat and socializing and the dinner. There is this gentle maternal, mother female energy, kind of setting the tone viscerally for the conference. So there is some psycho-spiritual consciousness, and also the fun and the party aspect that is also in the mix. And as always, the boat has after the dinner some live concert in it, some spiritual.
Okay.
So we put out the chairs, sit on the ground like a kirtan night type of thing.
Oh, great!
So that's also in the welcoming boat party. So usually around 200 people arrive on Tuesday night, the night before the conference officially starts.
Okay, let me sort this out because I'm a little confused myself. There's a pre-conference, and then there's the conference. So what are the days of the week, and then what night's the boat party, and how do people choose?
Yeah, the Tuesday is the pre-conference workshop day. And on that evening is the welcoming boat party.
Okay.
Next day, Wednesday, the morning hours are still pre-conference, and the main conference part starts after lunch on Wednesday at 2 p.m.
I see.
And that's when I give my opening talk, then Ken Wilber gives his keynote, then Robert Kegan, comes and gives his keynote. So, I'm so,
big night.
I feel so grateful to work with these people and to have them there.
Fantastic.
Blows away my mind and heart. And a very strong afternoon to open the conference. And then basically from there, Wednesday afternoon, evening, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the main conference days.
Right. Okay.
And then the next week, the first 3 days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, is the post-conference sightseeing tour around the country and in Budapest.
Right. And that's by bus.
That's by bus. That's a big bus tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some keynoters on the bus and other participants, the integral community tours together, so that you see not only conference interiors of the country, but also the culture, the nature, and the spiritual part. We take people always to some spiritual spot, or sometimes we organize.
Oh, that's the forest that we went to. Again, that's so memorable to me. That was just the most magical forest. And then also to the hot springs spa. Yeah. Which is, are you going there again?
Yes. I don't know if that's the same spot that you've been, but we always include some hot spring spa because it's a key feature of Hungary. We have 1,000 hot spas in this small country.
Yeah, and that place was beautiful. And so I recommend the tour for Hungary.
And before the conference, not the pre-conference workshop day, Tuesday, a little bit before that, on that weekend before the conference, there are pre-IEC courses. You see, and that occurs in Budapest. Oh, so those people who come a little earlier, then they stay in Budapest, take the first IEC related courses. One course that's already set is with Dr.Robert Kegan. Is going to give us stages of development, workshop of his model, and also immunity to change. So 2 basically workshops packed into one day, and others are in the making also.
Great, yeah, fantastic. So that's a lot, Bence.
That's a lot.
Yes.
A lot to
you're going to be going for 10 days straight, something like that.
Yes. If you come to everything, it's like 10 days or so.
Yeah. Great. So people can find out the details and register at integraleuropeanconference.com.
Yes. Exactly.
Imagine.
Easy. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
All
so
right,
we follow
my friend.
up on email. Okay.
All right. Take care.
Hugs. Take care.
Big hugs.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, again, folks, you can find out more at integraleuropeanconference.com, and you can find all of my stuff at dailyevolver.com. Love to hear from you. You can send me emails at jeff@dailyevolver.com or go to the Connect section on the website and follow the directions there and leave me a voicemail. All right, thanks for listening to the Daily Evolver. See you next time. Bye.